Well, I sampled life experiences, as I like to call it, when I had my full-time job. I had a class I was teaching in New York City on how to invest in out-of-state and cash-flowing markets, because I was doing the same thing. I was buying in Dallas at the time, and so I was teaching others because I had so many people ask me, "How are you a real estate investor? I thought you work in advertising. I know you work in advertising because you work at the same company I work at. How are you able to do this?" And so I created this class. So I'm talking about all I was doing, and then I'll talk about how I balanced it, which really wasn't balance. It was just doing it all. So one, I had my full-time job at advertising agency, which was about 50 hours, maybe 55 hours a week on average. Two was that I was teaching that class. I taught it probably once every couple weeks, and that was in the evening. Three, I did stand-up comedy for 2 shows. One of them, I've mentioned before, is shut down. The venue is actually shut down.
Because of you, or just
all the above. And the reason why it wasn't because I wanted to be a comedian, is because I wanted to get better at public speaking. And they said improv is good, but if you want to be really good at public speaking, do stand-up comedy, because the audience has higher expectations for comedians versus improv actors. What else I did? I also was babysitting or manning on the side. I did that on Sundays, every Sunday, for a family. The child had special needs, and I did that. I'd take him to Central Park from, I think, 2:30 to 5:30 every Sunday for a year or two. And that was to make money on the side. I worked at a daycare in college, so it's kind of natural transition. And I did some other things. I can't remember all of them right now. So how did I balance making money how did I balance my full-time job with real estate? I just prioritized it. It's not about balancing. It's about, is this a priority for you? If it is, then life tends to move out of the way and your priorities come to the surface. It's tough to balance things. I mean, balancing is hard in general, right? Just try and balance something on your nose. It's tough, right? But if you make it a priority to do something, then you do it. And that's my suggestion for anyone who's thinking about, how do I balance stuff? Just write down on a piece of paper, 1 to 5, what are your priorities? And then do your life based on those priorities. Family, spiritual, health, business, whatever it is. And then based on that, live your life that way. And then perhaps within business, do a subcategory. Because I imagine, I would think, health should be at the top, or not at the very top, but depending on your priorities, maybe spiritual, maybe health, whatever. But within business, my point is, I don't think business is number one. Perhaps it's down the ladder a little bit. Well, within business, do subcategories of, okay, within business, what's most important? Is it my full-time job? Is it getting promoted at my full-time job? Okay, if so, then I'm going to put my extra focus here. Is it getting out of my full-time job? Okay, then I'm going to put identifying ways to get out of my full-time job at the top, and then my full-time job, and then you just live your life based on your priorities. That's what I've done. A lot of people ask me questions that are similar to this, and all roads lead back to, hey, there's a way to do it. Other people have done it before you. We're not recreating the wheel in any form or fashion. That's why you've got over 1,000 interviews to listen to experts who I've interviewed. And it's just a matter of, what priority, how much of a priority is it for you?
That's really good advice. Just one thing to add to that, just because if you're like me, I'm the kind of person that I've, let's see how I put this. I guess maybe neurotic would be the term, whereas if I don't have things written down, I'll just forget about it. And so something that can help kind of adding on to your priority list is once you make your priorities, make sure that, if you've got your number one being spiritual, number two being health, number three being business, then make sure that you're spending the correct amount of time on each of those. And so if those are your top three, but you're spending an hour a week on all three of those, then obviously something's going on. And so just the way to do that is, what I do is I have like note cards that I write down everything that I need to do on. Like whenever something comes up that I need to do, I just write it down, and then you kind of cross it off when you do it, which feels good. And then something else I'm actually testing out starting this week, and I'm going to actually take my calendar, instead of just having, I got a meeting here and I got a call here, I'm literally going to calendar everything. And so from this time to this time, I'm going to be working on, writing. This time to this time, I'm going to be doing, following Friday, or planning for following Friday, or whatever it is you're doing. You can probably take this based off your priority list and be like, all right, so my priority is quitting my job. My number one priority is quitting my job, so I'm going to spend 3 hours a night just brainstorming ideas to quit my job, or underwriting, or if you actually figure out how you're going to quit your job, you're going to be focusing on that and just making sure that you're actually doing it. Because if you don't, at least for me, if I don't write it down, or if I don't have it kind of somewhere and don't have kind of an external source to kind of be not my mentor, but my guide, I just won't do it.
Yeah.
So personality types are different. For some people, they can just keep it all in their head and just do it. Some people need to write all of it down. I'm more towards the latter end of the spectrum. I don't think I'm all the way there, but just an extra tip is just use the calendar app, write things down, and then either end of the day or end of the week, go back and be like, all right, how much time did I spend on each of my different priorities? And if you didn't spend enough time on those, then make sure the next week. I'm going to start doing it every Monday morning. I did it this morning, and it's every morning. Just kind of schedule out your week, schedule out your priorities, and then go from there. And then I guess one piece of advice who I got this from said, don't be a slave to it. It's kind of like a guide. Don't be so intense with it that if you skip it, you get so angry at yourself. It's supposed to be a guide, and it's supposed to be an improvement from where you are right now, not perfection.
Yes. Yep. I love the one level extra. So to summarize, there is no balance. It's what you prioritize in your life, and identify if you need to have a tracking system in order to do that. I schedule out my days in my calendar as well. From this is when I'm going to exercise to when we're meeting to weekly calls with people. So absolutely.
Cool.